The first carry for Trenton Cannon. Broke through some contact, but unable to reach the 40. It's 3rd and 4.
Brings up 3rd down.
3rd down. Flacco from the gun. The open man is Smith.
So it looked like...
And all the way in. Touchdown, New York. Vincent Smith, 42 yards.
Hey guys, I've been playing Madden NFL 21, and I wanted to give you my thoughts on this title. EA Sports shot me the code for the game for my PS4, and I've been playing it on my PS4 Pro, and the cool thing about this game is that it's going to be available to be upgraded to the PlayStation 5. So I guess Madden NFL 21 is my first PlayStation 5 game.
You're... Yeah, rapper, producer, entrepreneur, Snoop D-O double G. Please believe it, that's me.
And I've been having a good time with this. I've probably put in about 10 or 12 hours, but you guys know me. I love sports games, but like most games, I play them until I can talk about them and then I have to move on. I'm not one of these sports enthusiasts out there that only stays with these leagues and plays multiple seasons and goes on and on and on. So I play them and can appreciate them as video games, but I'm not the go-to statistician that knows how every single real-life athlete plays on the field when I look at something like Madden NFL 21. I have been, though, playing Madden games since the Genesis days. I used to plunk down my $50 and buy the carts on a regular basis. But it's been a little while, honestly, since I've reviewed a Madden game, and I think there is a win in that. I think one of the things that these annually updated sports titles always contend with is the marginal amounts of upgrades and tweaks that these teams can put in their games because they have 9 months to work their butts off to get something out there. So it's very easy to be flippant and to kind of write these things off as just roster upgrades and minor updates from last year's game. I didn't play last year's Madden, so this is a Madden experience that's kind of refreshing and new for me. Obviously, one of the big marquee standout things in this new Madden is a mode called the Yard, which evokes NFL Street or NFL Blitz. It's an arcadey type of experience that you actually play in a tailgate scenario outside of the stadiums, but you can enlist the help of the all-star NFL players out there, so you can throw Tom Brady on your team. And it's also multi-discipline because the same group of 6 players, it's 6-on-6, plays offensive and defensive positions, and there's a lot of fluidity and there's a lot of speed and there's a lot of passing the ball to each other before you pass the line of scrimmage. Lots of over-the-top, zany, arcadey types of animations in there as well. The Yard is actually quite fun, and it's pretty cool to play it against the computer, but it's way more fun to just get online and just get your ass beat by somebody that's much better at Madden than you. I was having a good time, even though I was definitely being educated on how to pull off all of these maneuvers and stuff. The right analog thumbstick, like all of the EA Sports games recently, is well implemented. It's the skill sticks. You're able to pull off spin moves and jukes and pull off some pretty cool animations, whether you're on offense or defense, and that's very well employed in the Yard. There's also a tremendous lean in on customizing your characters, although I found a lot of the customization options to be brutally ugly. There's no other way to frame it. I was like, I don't want any of these outfits, these neon crazy like shark skin thing, like everything just was like, wow, who would wear that out in public? I much prefer, the sort of lower key hoodies and things that you can get in other sports franchises, but clearly you've got to pad yourself up and you got to wear all kinds of armor if you're going to go and hurl your body at people like you do in the Madden experiences here. So the pull of the Yard, the sort of the main line of why you would want to play the game, to unlock all the cosmetic goodies, that wasn't really working for me. I was like, I don't care. I've got my, I like the Jets. I like the green of the Jets. I'm not like a Jets devotee. I also like the Buffalo Bills. And don't ask me why. I don't know. It's like underdog teams or something. I don't know. I was playing as the Jets, so I just had my Jets character. So I stood out against all of these neon creations, all of these people like with brightest blues and pinks and greens that everybody had on the field, and there's me in a Jets uniform. There's also Face of the Franchise, which is kind of the story mode of the game. There was Face of the Franchise last year, which was a little bit different. I didn't play it though. So this time you play as a quarterback who's got a rival quarterback played by Ty Sheridan, who's got some heart issues, and that gives you some entrance ways to show off your skills. And you play through some high school games and you play through some college games and you work your way. You can decide to stay in college and try different positions I don't want to spoil too much, but I actually kind of dug it. I like the high school experience. I've always dug the college football games that EA used to make, and it was fun to kind of revisit a little bit of that energy and a little bit of that the speed and wacky momentum of the college ball and the high school ball. But eventually you will work your way into NFL seasons as well. I like story modes in sports games. I think that they serve multiple purposes. One of them is to kind of show you a lot of the key fundamentals and a lot of the training elements, and show off the complexities of the actual on-the-field engines of these sports titles. Face of the Franchise definitely does do that. But the other thing is to kind of tap into the emotions of why sports are so significant for the players and for the fans, And it doesn't always work, and there is an exploitative quality to a lot of these, because there have been some real highlights and some games that have done it better than others. One of the ones that we always reference, all of us that have been playing sports games for a while, is Fight Night Champion from EA, which had an incredible story mode. But I did like Face of the Franchise, and then of course you could play exhibition modes against the computer and hop online, and there's Ultimate Team, and there's franchise mode. A lot of the stuff that year on, year out, Madden players, the purchasers of this franchise every single year, are going to dive into and get the most out of. All of that stuff is there. It didn't feel like it was a revolutionary experience when I'm playing it, even though I've had at least a couple of years away from playing Madden. It was super fluid and it was super fun. When you push away all of the noise and all of the embellishments around football, all the ways that football celebrates itself, and certainly EA Sports has always mimicked in their front ends and the broadcast stylings and stuff that they've put into their games. When you push all that away and you're just cleats on the field, it's really fun to play. It's really, really slick. I've been sort of up and down about the use of the Frostbite engine. The facial look and the fidelity of experiences pre the adoption of Frostbite seem to be driving in a more exciting direction, and it feels like the teams that have been working with Frostbite to use that really robust engine, which has worked so well in first-person shooters, have struggled a little bit, and I felt like that was still kind of the case in Madden NFL 21. When I looked at my character customization and stuff, I just couldn't get the look of the character that I was building for the Face of the Franchise. Then you see him pop up in all the other menus to look the way that I wanted. I had this kind of weird, super animated look, and then I would see other characters that were designed for in-game engine cut sequences and stuff, and they just looked much more photoreal. So it was weird to me that I couldn't really achieve the aesthetic kind of quality that I wanted out of the engine. I also noticed that there were some weird sort of bugs, like a bunch of the players on the sidelines would all animate in perfect synchronization. They almost looked like synchronized swimmers or something. That happened a couple of times. I noticed that during some of the loading sequences for Face of the Franchise, the system just stalled. It didn't crash the whole machine, but the game just stopped, basically. It wouldn't load in, so I had to quit out of the game and restart the game again, and I could continue playing. I think a lot of that stuff will be patched and tweaked and tuned. But yes, the core underlined is that it's very fun to get cleats on the ground and just play the game of football. I found that defense, which is, I think, been a huge focus for EA over the years, is a lot more enjoyable. You absolutely feel like you're pushing past blockers and zeroing in on the ball carrier or the QB, and it's almost as much fun to be on the defensive than it is on the offensive. I felt like I had a lot of success in man-to-man coverage, more success than when I tried to blitz or when I tried to do any zone defensive plays, because it all changes depending on the skill of the human opponent that you're going to play when you get online. But against the computer, man-to-man coverage seemed to be quite effective. And I didn't try every single difficulty. I didn't put it into full simulation mode. I didn't put it into the hardest of the hardcore, but I felt like I was getting a really good handle. I was sort of set at the medium difficulty level, and I was getting a good handle on defense, which led to some pretty spectacular offensive plays. I still sort of lean into a lot of passing. I'm an effective QB, even against some of the human opponents that probably play this game way more than I do. I feel pretty good about that. But I also tried out a lot of running moves in the game, which I never really have been a huge devotee of with Madden. I always like the big drama plays, like getting 30 yards on a pass, but I enjoyed the running game in this, and I think it's because everything has just been tuned and tweaked with the skill stick and the juke moves and all the stuff that you can pull off. It feels really rooted, and one of my major complaints about Madden in years past has been how slippery the game has felt. It almost felt like the players weren't really connected to the field, almost like they were slipping around on ice, but not now. Now it definitely feels like the physics are grounded and rooted, and you can feel the turn on the dime sort of moves that you pull off, whether you're on offense or defense, and it's very satisfying. So at its core, for me, it was very fun to play, and it feels like you get a lot of value for your money because you get this kind of story thing, you get the arcadey kind of experience, you get the nuts and bolts of playing through seasons in the franchise mode, you can have just some quick jump on and play an exhibition type of fun with the online play. If you want to be hardcore and unlock everything and spend some real time and or money, you've got the Ultimate Team stuff in there. At its core, this is a successful enterprise, but I certainly would suggest that you weigh your decision to jump in around other people's opinion that look at this title every single year and will give you all of the minutia about how this game correlates and how this game kind of stands up to the real thing, but also to the many iterations of Madden over years past. This certainly feels like it's a meaty experience for me as someone that hasn't played in a bit, but I would also totally understand if you are one that jumps in every year, this would feel like a kind of a limited upgrade. And now, of course, we're transitioning to new machines, so we're going to see the all-new engine for Madden pretty soon. So that might be a factor in your purchasing decision here as well. You may want to hold off this year and wait until next year, because usually what happens with the first year of these games as they move to a new machine is a lot of the features are stripped back so they can kind of focus on the visual power. And I don't think that this is overrun with features. I just think that there's enough value in what it does deliver to justify its purchase price. And honestly, who knows what the NFL season is going to be like this year, so this might be old reliable for a lot of you NFL fans out there. It's not perfect, but it's certainly fun, and I think for those of you sports fans that jump in every other year, you're going to find a lot to dig in here. I think those of you that really drill down and know all of the intricacies, you're going to have the most complaints. But this is a solid title, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what EA has up their sleeves for next gen. But this is not a bad transition game. I'm going to give Madden NFL 21 an 8 out of 10.